What makes a good incubator? The key components that you need when it comes to having an incubator for puppies. In crisis situations, even in just regular whelping, it's a good idea to have an incubator on standby just in case. I'm gonna go over the key things that you need to have when looking for any incubator. It doesn't have to be this one. There's key components you wanna look for. We're gonna cover that today. Stay tuned. You're not gonna wanna miss this episode of British Hacks. The key things you need to have when it comes to an incubator: you need heat, you need to be able to use a nebulizer, you need to be able to use humidity, and you need to be able to use oxygen. That's what's gonna make a real legitimate incubator. What's going on, Bully fam? It's your boy, the educator, the scientist, Mr. Double Muscle Line Bulls, bringing you another episode of British Hacks. We got my partner over here in the background, Pac. No Days Off Bullies. He's here with me today, but we're gonna be covering just some key components. He's gonna jump in and out more than likely, but we're gonna cover some key components when it comes to an incubator. Because I get people who ask me all the time, what's the difference between this incubator, between this one? What makes a good incubator? What makes a bad incubator? So I just wanna cover real quickly the key elements that you wanna look for when it comes to purchasing an incubator or potentially making your own, because I do have videos on how to make your own. So this is the Brooder 90. I'm gonna use this as an example because we do carry these, and I've had a lot of success with these when it comes to litters. Same thing for my partner, Pac. So real quick, I'm gonna make it short and simple. The key things you need to have when it comes to an incubator: you need heat, you need to be able to use a nebulizer, you need to be able to use humidity, and you need to be able to use oxygen. That's what's gonna make a real legitimate incubator. If you don't have those things, then in my opinion, I mean, I see sometimes they have like those Amazon incubators that it's like a clear box with like a heat lamp. To me, that's just a heat box, a hot box.
This thing's like a hot box.
That's not really a real incubator that's gonna really help puppies that are, struggling to survive or whatever the case it may be. If you don't have those four components, you just have a glorified box to throw your puppies in. So when it comes to an incubator, those are the key things. So like with something like this, what's really nice is having the oxygen, right? I'll start with the oxygen. With an oxygen machine, you wanna have, I prefer like the human grade ones. If it's gonna be for my puppies, I would want something that's human grade. I see the Chinese ones all the time and stuff like that, but in my opinion, you could probably find one on Facebook or something from someone who used to smoke, or maybe that died or something like that, whatever the case may be. You usually can find them on Facebook. So I'll grab one of those, or, you can hit us up, and I always have a few of the Drive Medical ones that we use on standby. And the oxygen, you generally want to have it around, I would say like for an incubator of this size, about 2.5 liters. So this is a 5 liter. We typically set it to like 2.5, you know what I'm saying? What about you, Pac? You set it to like 2.5, right?
That was 3.
2.5, 3. Yeah. So the thing is, and I see people make mistakes all the time of putting the oxygen too close to the puppies, and that's what winds up burning them. You could actually do more harm than good. So that's why having it like this here, it circulates it throughout the entire incubator. The next thing is nebulizer. Is essentially just when you're gonna be going ahead and throwing in like some antibiotics to administer to the puppies. We don't have the nebulizer hooked up right now because we don't have the use for it right now. The puppy's perfectly healthy. But anytime you need to give like vapor medication, inhalation medication, for example, like albuterols, gentamicin, whatever the case it may be, you're gonna wanna have a nebulizer on standby. Yet again, same thing. Depending on the medication, some require it to be very close to the puppy, some not. So you would wanna have a nebulizer and an incubator that will support allowing you to put the nebulizer in and not hinder the environment or the life of the puppy. So nebulizer, that's huge in my opinion, especially when you need to give medications like albuterol to help the breathing for the puppy, especially when the puppy's struggling. That's probably one of the biggest reasons as to why you would be using an incubator, is probably because you have puppies that are struggling. So you'd want to have a nebulizer that you could go ahead and give them the appropriate medications. So, and that's as simple as you just hooking up the nebulizer into the incubator and letting it run. I have a video going on how to use a nebulizer. The next thing is heat. So these have a built-in heat source that just you set your temperature and it's kind of ready to go. I have a video coming on how to use the Brooder 90, but I just wanted to cover essentially just the heat aspect of it. So some of these incubators have like, it's like a lamp affixed to it, and it's just a heat bulb. Different incubators have different things. Some have heat elements, right? Where it's just like, it looks like a ceramic heat emitter. Some of them have, like I said, it's a heat bulb. Some of them use heating pads. You know, each one is different. So you just need to be mindful and look at that. They all have their pros and their cons. What I like about the heat source in like a Brooder 90, for example, is the fact that I do like the heating pads, but sometimes you do have to be mindful of puppies that may potentially get like a flat chest or something, and because they're laying too much on their stomach. So I like I said, the heat emitter that this provides. Like I said, as long as you have some sort of heat, and the puppies are doing good, then in my opinion, you know, hey, don't fix something that's not broken. If it's working for you, go ahead. You want to have some sort of heat, and a way to regulate the heat is important. Regulate all these things, to be honest. So you want to have a way to control, just like on here, I can set my temperature from this temperature to this temperature. Typically for puppies, you know, you want to keep them around, and it also varies on the size of the puppies. You know, if you're dealing with very, very small puppies, like Chihuahua puppies versus like Great Dane puppies, you generally want to be anywhere between, I would say, 85 degrees. How you feel about your temperature?
Yeah, like it all depends upon the size, because like with bigger puppies, like they trap heat. So initially, like you can set it to 80 or 85, but then you got the body heat growing in there. Sometimes that'll make it worse. So yeah, it's best to play with it. Like sometimes you got to play with it, you know. Sometimes, sometimes you may need higher, sometimes you may need lower. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So checking the puppy's temperature is going to be key, and making sure that they're at the appropriate temperature that they need to be, because they're not obviously going to be maintaining their own temperature. So that's why taking the temperature of a puppy is key. But like I said, having something that you can set the temperature is going to be huge. So that's the next thing on the checklist. So heat. And then I would say probably like the fourth thing, right? Because I think we're at our fourth thing now, is our line here for humidity, right? So this is water that's affixed to a line, and basically same thing. We have our controller here that allows us to pull water out and bring humidity in, because anytime you're cranking up the temperature, especially when you're using like a heat source like a lamp or a bulb, you're usually drying up the air. So you need to have some sort of way to bring the humidity back in, so that the puppies don't get too dry or dehydrated because of the fact that there's not enough humidity in the air. It's the same thing as if, you know, you stood in a hot room, you know, and the sun's beaming on you. It starts, you know, to become very dry very quickly, you know? So the same thing for the puppies. So you want to have some sort of control for the humidity, to make it, if you have to make the humidity higher, you know, being able to adjust for the puppies. And generally for the puppies, I keep it anywhere between, I would say like 50 to 60, maybe even 65, you know, somewhere in that range, you know? And that's just a percent. So yet again, they sell like the Inkbird temperature controllers, the humidity controllers. There's different types of controllers. So say you made your own incubator, you can buy these individual controllers, you know, yet again, or you can make your life easier and just get something that has everything already affixed to it. But when it comes to an incubator, like I said, those are the key things that you need to have: oxygen, nebulizer, humidity, and heat, and being able to control all four. So it's actually 5 things. Being able to control all the other things is huge and super important. Having a window and being able to continuously look at the puppies and make sure they're good. So as you can see, you know, we threw in a soft blanket and stuff like that, and the puppy's just hanging out. It's just chilling right now, as you can see, you know? So anyway, guys, I just wanted to cover the key elements that make a really good incubator, what you need to have when you have an incubator. Because I had somebody ask me, hey, what do you think of this Amazon incubator in comparison to, say, the Brooder 90 or whatever the case may be? So what do you think, Pat? Anything else?
No, I think every, like you said already, like every incubator has its own use. You know what I mean? Like some like with the heating pads, some need belly heat. Belly heat helps promote circulation. You know. Yeah. Versus, you know, some do well with the air force heat. You know what I mean? Like where they're actually okay as long as you can balance out your humidity.
Exactly. 100%. Because one will affect the other. If you increase the humidity, it may bring your temperature down. You increase your heat, it may decrease your humidity. A sustainable environment for the puppy is really the key thing, is what you're looking for, especially for a puppy that maybe is already having a trouble start at life. The premature puppies, this is super essential. And then the oxygen, you cannot forget having oxygen. Like you have to have oxygen.
This can save prematures.
Yes, exactly. Having an incubator is like, and I learned the importance of having an incubator after, you know, I had my first premature litter. You know, not only that, having a puppy then, and that's when I realized the importance of all the key elements I just told you, because I had an incubator and I had a puppy that was fading on me, dying on me, and I brought her to the vet. We gave her oxygen, snapped right back to life. The minute the end of the day came, because of the fact that the vet wasn't open 24 hours, you know, they said, hey, listen, the puppy can stay for the whole day. Then when we close, you got to pick her up. When I picked her up, she didn't even make it home. And if I would have had oxygen, it may have saved her life. It may have kept her alive. So that's why, like I said, I'm a huge advocate for, if you're going to have an incubator, make sure you have those key elements. Yes, especially oxygen. People sleep on oxygen. Oxygen can say, I've seen it save puppies' lives time and time again.
Oxygen and the nebulizer, like it's essential.
Exactly, 100%, 100%. So as always, guys, I hope this information was helpful. I hope it was useful, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Breeders Hacks. All right, guys.